Hi, friends. Stephanie Wilson here, author of the Freedom Over Fascism newsletter and host of the Freedom Over Fascism podcast. Fuck white patriarchal men, old or young. There's not a lot of difference. Have you noticed that the only people calling for Biden to drop out are men, or more specifically, white men? And the only mythical candidates they propose are white? Because I've sure noticed. Whether they're self-important podcasters, and I hope you don't think that's me, or washed-up pundits, or members of the corporate media fanning the flames of the story and calling on Biden to step down, while the convicted felon is a perfectly fine candidate, all these folks are white, and they're all men. You all know that I think giving up the incumbency is a numbskull move. And all of this BS from the peanut gallery is just continuing the news cycle, draining our confidence, our will, and our anger, and all around signaling defeat. So fuck those folks. We, the organizers, advocates, grassroots voters, we're the ones who need to help Biden win in November. The cavalry isn't coming. There's no SEAL Team 6 to rescue us. It's up to us. From Jasmine Crockett, one of my heroes. If Dems found half as much energy to attack MAGA, the real threat, then we'd be good. For all the geniuses out there who think someone else would be better, 1. Explain to me who it is. 2. How they get on the ballot in all 50 states. 3. How they get the money and apparatus together to get this done in 4 months. The over $100 million Biden has on hand doesn't transfer. And 4. How we explain that a random person has been selected, subverting the votes that were cast because of bad polls. Dems spend all their time seeking perfection, while Republicans focus on their disastrous agenda, and they could care less so long as they rig the system in their favor. Use your energy addressing Project 2025 and the fact that this Supreme Court has laid the foundation to finalize the full destruction of our democracy. So, what are we fighting exactly? On June 1st, MAGA SCOTUS flipped the Constitution on its ass and declared that presidents can be kings and immune from prosecution for official acts. Only they get to say what is official. And as much as I'm a bit disappointed that Biden didn't say, well, in that case, felons can't run, MAGA SCOTUS is fired, who will rid me of that meddlesome orange candidate? Biden will respect what the presidency should be in a democracy, which is beholden to the people and not an instrument of death and destruction. MAGA SCOTUS first tore apart the administrative state, remember the SEC and EPA, and then reversed the Chevron doctrine, which now gives courts deference on interpreting statutes instead of allowing the administrative agencies, full of experts in their fields, to set regulations for our safety, protection, and overall health. Then, on Monday, July 1st, MAGA SCOTUS declared that presidents are kings. They're immune from criminal prosecution for anything they did in their official role as president or in official adjacent roles. They made pretty clear that they will be the ones who decide what is official. So while Biden is responsibly wielding presidential power, if Trump wins, he will not. What does that mean? Well, how much can you imagine? I can imagine death squads, private armies, concentration camps, murder of undesirable populations, homeless, Native, Black, Jewish, Muslim, trans, LGBTQ+ in general. More stringent rules on women's health, criminalizing contraception, criminalizing women's ability to buy a car or house or even to own a credit card. I can see trans people targeted for death, quote, immigrants, meaning anyone brown with a Hispanic last name, being rounded up and deported. Whether that means actually sending them somewhere out of the country or just letting them rot or killing them outright, it's not clear. It means non-Christians becoming second, third, or fourth-class citizens. Imagine anything the Nazis did happening here, and you're not being hysterical, overdramatic, hyperbolic, or fear-mongering. Trump and Project 2025 have already promised this. It's not a mystery. Now let's think about what we can do to stop this. I trust Simon Rosenberg to have a good read on this, despite the fact that he's a white man. As I write this post, Biden world is huddling to figure out next steps. You all know my stance on Biden continuing to be the nominee. He's leading a team, folks, and has a great backup in Kamala Harris. The next stage, or perhaps the very first stage, is what we've been doing for a long time, getting out there, organizing voters, reaching out to disaffected, infrequent voters, writing postcards, making calls, using new tools, learning from each other, and sticking together, even if things are not ideal for any of us. We, the grassroots army, will be the difference between winning and losing here. So as I say early and often, get out there and talk to your neighbors. Explain Trump's plan, explain what SCOTUS just did to our country, and explain the stakes, one-on-one, to people who trust you. Every social media post I do is either talking to advocates or giving you ammunition for your outside conversations. I suggest following Andrew Watkins about Project 2025, Courier Newsroom for stories that help move infrequent voters, Tara McGowan, CEO of Courier, for more ammo and independent news, Aaron Rupar and Judd Legum for independent reporting, Dahlia Lithwick on the courts, and of course sharing this and the Freedom Over Fascism podcast. I'm taking some time away from new interviews in July, but I'll write posts here and will repost some of the most important interviews of the last year, which will hopefully find and educate new audiences. So please share. In the fall, I'll talk more about where to donate, which tools to use, think Gen AI for Dems, delve deeper into Project 2025, and so much more. For now, please try to have a good holiday, remembering the 4th for what it has always stood for, even though we know the U.S. has never lived up to its promise. And keep on keeping on, because everything depends on us. And also, F you to those who are dividing our side against itself, because that's the fastest way to lose all our freedoms, everywhere. Freedom Over Fascism is a reader-supported publication and podcast. To receive new posts and support my work, please consider becoming a free or paid subscriber.